ComNet, second Monday at 7 p.m., W5FC. W5FC repeater, PL 110.9.
Mr. Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
And does anyone need to use the repeater before we begin tonight's Skynet? Five India Charlie X-Ray. My name's Tom. I'll be your net control for this session of the DARC. Skynet! Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy. Our purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime sky astronomy and space in general. This net is open to all amateurs interested in this topic, and we encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations of priority or emergency traffic, I'll get it right, may enter the net at any time by using the pro sign break in your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic? Please come now. This is a directed net. Please do not transmit without direction from net control. That would be me. And stations are reminded to ID at the end of your transmissions. This weekly net operates on this frequency with a PL tone of 110 decimal niner. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using the W5FC-R station ID or Echolink node 37247. Tonight's topics, astronomy charts, pictures, and live audio-video links are available online. Just go to the club website, which is W5FC.org right now for a complete list. And remember to tell others about this popular net. All amateur operators are welcome, and you need not be a member of any amateur radio club to participate. This net is about 90 minutes long. We might run a little short this evening and structured in several parts. One is general announcements. Two, Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, where and when you can look through a telescope. Three, National Space Society events. Four is discussion topic of the evening. Five is what you can see in the sky tonight, or was up. A future constellation or object or topic. We've got a topic this evening. That's number 6. Recent astronomical discoveries. Space exploration and space history. Well, we're going to skip that one tonight because Tony is on vacation. Visible satellite passages over the next couple of days. Astronomical Q&A in the 73 round. All amateurs licensed to transmit on this frequency are invited to check in. So let's start with low power short time check-ins. If you're low power short time, please come now with your call sign name, where you're transmitting from. Let me know if you're low power short time.
This is Whiskey Bravo number 4, Mike Foxtrot, India, WB4MFI, Ted, Dallas, low power, long time. Low 5. Juliet, Delta, Whiskey, John and Irving, mobile, short time.
Let me get those two checked in. WB4MFI, Ted in Dallas, low power, long time. Welcome, Ted. Welcome back. K5JDW, John, and Irving. He's in his summer home. Irving, he's mobile. Well, he's mobile, but he'll probably be checking in his summer home. Let's see. So I've got that. And short time. I'll take additional low power short time. Please come now with your call sign name, where you're transmitting from. Let me know if you're either.
Whiskey 5, Golf, Uniform, Sierra. It's Gus, far northeast Dallas, low power.
I got W5GUS, Gus, far northeast Dallas, low power. Out of the three who checked in, low power, short time, anybody have any comments, please come with your call sign now, in case you have to disappear later for battery or time reasons. I'll give you a couple of seconds. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to general check-ins. If you'd like to join us, please come with your call sign, phonetically your name and where you're transmitting from. General check-ins.
Delta 5, Bravo, Bravo. Still at Irving.
Brenda and DeSoto. Kilo Charlie 5, Oscar Zulu Tango, Carolyn and Russell.
Papa, Mike, and Richardson.
Kilo, Golf 5, Echo, India, Uniform, David, in St. Paul, Texas.
Glad I wasn't part of the big pileup at the beginning. This is Kilo Foxtrot 5, Juliet Hotel Alpha, Chaz, in Mesquite.
Foxtrot 5, Zulu, Bravo, Lima, Bill, Farmers Branch.
Kilo 5, Kilo Tango X-Ray, Kelly in Quinlan.
This is Kilo Golf 5, Whiskey Victor Lima, James Carrollton.
Kilo Charlie 5, Romeo Yankee Juliet from Decatur, Texas, cruising through Irving.
All right, not that round of check-ins. Let me go ahead and acknowledge everyone here. We've got N5BB, Bill over in Irving. Great net earlier. TechNet did great. WB5OZL, Brenda over in DeSoto. Yeah, I picked you out of the pile-up. KC5OZT, Miss Carolyn, my neighbor in Louisville. KG5P, Mike over in Richardson. KG5EIU, David in St. Paul. K5JJ, Chaz in Mesquite. K5ZBL, Mr. Bill in Farmers Branch. K5KDX, Miss Kelly in Quinlan. KG5WVL, James in Carrollton. And KC5RYJ from Decatur, Texas. He's mobile in Irving. Hey, RYJ, can I get your name, please?
This is KC5RYJ. My name is Bob.
Very good. Thank you, Bob, for checking in, and drive safely out there. I'll take additional check-ins now. If you'd like to join us this evening, please come with your call sign, your name, and where you're transmitting from. Please come now.
Kilo India 5, Echo Bravo Oscar. This is Michael from Plano.
All right, I've got one more. I got KI5EBO, Michael over in Plano. Welcome, Michael. And I think this is the first time in on this net, but we appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to move over to Echolink. I will come back to general check-ins in a moment. If you are on Echolink and you would like to join us, please come now with your call sign, name, where you're transmitting from. I will give you extra time. Please come now.
Kilo Golf 5, Bravo Zulu Whiskey. J, near Weatherford.
Kilo India 5, Bravo November Papa, Luis, forward.
November 5, Yankee, Echo, Oscar, Stephen, San Antonio.
All right, let me go ahead and get those folks checked in. I'm looking up the chat box here to see if there's anybody I missed. I don't think I did. Let's see. Okay. KI5EBO, Michael over in Plano. I've got KG5BZWJ near Weatherford. KI5BNP, Luis in Fort Worth. N5YEO, one of our regulars, Stephen in San Antonio. Welcome all. All right, I'll go ahead and open to anyone who would like to join us this evening, any mode. Please come now with your call sign, name, and where you're transmitting from.
Kilo 5, Alpha, November, Papa, Allen in Dallas.
Okay, I've got K5ANP, Alan over in Dallas. Welcome. Got a few new people on here this evening. Welcome all. I hope you come back again next week as well. This is Skynet. It's an astronomy net that we do every Saturday night here in the Dallas area. So if you're passing through, and I know at least one of you is, you can check in over the Echolink node 37247 on Saturday night at 9 p.m. Okay, let's see here. What do we have? Let's get started. General announcements. Do we have any general announcements for this evening's net? They can be of ham, astronomical, space, or general interest to licensed hams. Please come now.
KG5P.
KTX.
All right, we've got two. Let's start with Mike, KG5P. Mike, go ahead with your announcement.
Okay, thank you, Tom. I believe you all know Burl, KF5TSK. Burl upgraded to Extra last Thursday, and he'll probably be around later for the next net anyway. And also, I believe Michael, EBO, up in Plano, the new check-in, he just upgraded himself. So congratulations to all the new upgrades, Extra class, KG5P.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike, and congratulations, Michael and Burl. Burl may be listening out there. You know, he kind of lurks in the background at times, but he'll be there for the Afterglow Movie Net. I'll betcha. Okay, next up is K5KTX. Miss Kelly, I have an idea what this one's about, but please tell us. K5KTX from KE5ICX. Go ahead.
Thank you, Tom. This is K5KTX, and if you're thinking I'm going to talk about the Texas Star Party, no, that was not what I'm planning on. I did not see this being covered anywhere in the net, so I thought that I would just bring this up in case nobody was aware of this. But the U.S. astronaut who pioneered the use of amateur radio to make contacts from space, Owen K. Garriott, W5LFL, died April April 15th at his home in Huntsville, Alabama. He was 88. Garriott's ham radio activity ushered in the formal establishment of amateur radio in space, first as SAREX, the Shuttle Amateur Radio Experiment, and later as ARIS, Amateur Radio on the International Space Station. An Oklahoma native, Garriott, an electrical engineer, spent 2 months aboard the Skylab space station in 1973 and 10 days aboard Skylab 1 during a 1983 Space Shuttle Columbia mission. It was during the latter mission that Garriott thrilled radio amateurs around the world by making the first contacts from space. Thousands of hams listened on 2-meter FM, hoping to hear him or to make a contact. Garriott ended up working stations around the globe, among them such notables as the late King Hussein, JY1 of Jordan, and the late U.S. Senator Barry Goldwater, K7UGA. He also made the first CW contact from space. Garriott called hamming from space a pleasant pastime. Although Garriott had planned to operate on ham radio during his 10 days in space, no special provisions were made on board the spacecraft in terms of equipment, unlike the situation today on the International Space Station. Garriott simply used a handheld transceiver with its antenna in the window of Spacelab 1. His first pass was down the U.S. West Coast. And Garriott won a Special Achievement Award at Hamvention, as well as his son Richard, who is W5KWQ, who was also a private space traveler to the International Space Station, flown there by the Russian Federal Space Agency, and he also carried ham radio into space. So I thought I would bring that news item, and that's all. This is K5KTX.
Very good, Ms. Kellyanne. Thank you very much. I appreciate your comments on that. We don't have Tony this evening, who would be giving that news, and you've given it in the past, and it's most appreciated. Owen Garriott, dead at 88, and you stay up in, where the heck was it? Up in Oklahoma, the hotel that I stayed at was on Owen Garriott Drive, which was his hometown. I'm just drawing a blank right now. But, yep, first ham to transmit from space on ham frequencies. Very important. Thanks very much. I appreciate you bringing that to the net this evening. And this is KE5ICX. I do have an announcement. Let's not forget that coming up next week, we have a lecture and lab. This is the Dallas Amateur Radio Club monthly lecture and lab, which is always the first Saturday of the month, April 27th. We're going to have a solder fest where you get to build or solder some interesting stuff. We do have the what I'm calling a board cube, which is an LED cube of bluish white LEDs and with an IC chip that goes and creates all these interesting and fascinating patterns. It's 8 by 8 by 8, and you plug it into a 5-volt power supply source. Your Raspberry Pi power supply would probably work just fine if you get a Pi 3. Go ahead and plug into this thing. The cost on this, I've only got 5 of these. I'm probably going to build one myself. So it'll be 4. They are $20. That's what it costs me to ship them in from Japan each. That's pretty cheap, but you're going to have to put in $9 million worth of personal labor to put this thing together. You can do the 8 by 8 by 8 and do the math and figure it out. Remember, you got to read, the bottom does not get LEDs, and it's 8 by 8 by 8, but never mind. It's a math problem. You'll have to figure it out. I have several unassembled digital voltmeters. These are the ones we did a couple of months ago that look like fluke meters. They respond and act a lot like the fluke meters. Now, they're not fluke meters, but they're pretty cool with a large display for us old people and not so old people. Those are $15. And then I've got some sound generators that you can plug into a circuit. They inject a signal into the circuit, and then you can go ahead and see if whatever's supposed to be amplifying is amplifying. Those are $5. They may give them away. I don't know at this point, but I found them quite accidentally the other day while I was cleaning out the garage. I'll never clean out that garage. But I found 5 or 6 of those things that did not sell a while back. So if you're interested in any and all those things, come to the Dallas Medical Center next week at 7 Medical Center Way in the 3rd floor community room. We'll be going from 10 until 2 p.m. Yes, you're going to have to finish these projects at home. Well, maybe not the signal generators, but the other ones maybe. You can find out additional information by going to w5fc.org for the complete information. And you can contact me, ke5icx@yahoo.com, if you want additional information, in case whatever I put on the website didn't make sense or you need additional information. So I will, of course, ask if you would like any additional information. Please come down. Hey, I did hear a station. I got a KI5 and then I lost you in the noise. Try one more time and go ahead and ask your question.
KI5 EDO, Michael. I was just wondering if there's a way that I can get one of those or possibly both. I'm not sure I'll be able to make it down to the medical center. If there's a way that we could get together on this offline, I'd be interested.
Well, yeah, you certainly can. What we do is a first come, first served basis. So people who show up and have money in hand, I take their money and I hand them the kit. And that's generally how we always do it for lecture and lab, and that's how we'll do it next Saturday. However, if there's anything left over, by all means, I will work out something with you on that. Just send me an email at ke5icx@yahoo.com to remind me that you were interested, and then if I have any left over, by all means, you are welcome to any and all those things. So that's it. Does that answer your question, Michael?
Yes, sir. Thank you. KI5 EDO.
Very good. I am not in the business of trying to make money. All I'm doing is trying to provide kits and fun things to do together as groups, or if there's leftovers, then we'll go try and get rid of them. But in any case, that's what that's all about. I never charge a premium. All I want is to get my money back when I go and order these things. Because it usually takes about a month to order stuff, minimum, coming out of China, which is typically where the kits come from. Not all, but some. So that's it on that. So this is KE5ICX. I'm net control for tonight. Skynet. Let's see, what's next? Oh, activities going on. I will leave you to this. We got time. Don't forget that AMSAT, the Amateur Radio Satellite Group, has 2 nets available to Dallas residents. On Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m., you will need Echolink installed, and you registered on Echolink. You can find a net. This is a net about amateur satellites, of course, under groups and AMSAT. There's some asterisks before and after AMSAT. Also, there's a live audio link available on their website, which is amsatnet.com. And this net originates out of, Houston, Texas, where NASA is, the Manned Spacecraft Center. Also hosts a local AMSAT net. This is on the Arlington repeater every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Just go to 147.140 megahertz with a PL tone of 110.9 with a positive offset, and you'll be able to check in on that net every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Amateur Radio Club also has a number of nets that you can be a part of. We have, on Mondays, first week is Ham Fixin's net. Second week is MCOM 101. Third week is Ham Fixin's Net. Now, that's about food, by the way. MCOM is emergency communications. Sorry about that. Fourth week is GeekNet, which is where we talk about anything that's geeky, which means everything in your house. Just thought I'd mention that. And then Saturday is TechNet from 7 to 8 p.m., as well as Skynet, which you're listening to now, and the After Grill Movie Net, which is at 10:30 p.m. Tonight's movie that we are discussing, well, I'll tell you that in just a second, I guess. And then don't forget also the ARRL National Traffic System Training Net is every night at 6:30 p.m. All welcome to check in any or all of these nets. Now, tonight's After Grill Movie info. Here it comes. Nothing says disaster film quite like this Hallmark Channel-produced TV movie. See the caring Dr. Austin Shepard disappear from a conference. Feel for Shepard's colleague and emotionally engaging Christopher Richardson not only attempt to save the world, but connect emotionally with his vulnerable inner self. Experience Colonel Harlan Williams' pain as he wonders, should I paint the hallway at home in pastels? And can I still launch thermonuclear weapons with such a calming color in my life? Join us for the next After Grill movie, this time a film. Well, they're all disaster films, but this one is billed as a disaster film. From the Hallmark TV movie vault, Supernova, from 2005 tonight at 10:30 p.m. You can keep up with all the DARC events, nets, and activities by going to the club website, w5fc.org. I have additional check-ins. We know you're out there, you're working. You're behind that crate where the light is unable to spot you. Please come now with your call sign name where you're transmitting from.
AD2RAQ, Rod, is on North Dallas, Kilo Delta 2, Romeo Alpha, Quebec.
Excellent, I've got Kilo Delta 2, Romeo Alpha, Quebec. Ron, and Ron, where did you say you were?
Romeo Oscar Delta, and I'm actually in North Dallas, literally at Mars and Walnut Hill.
Oh, and I corrected your call. Boy, did I murder it. I Kilo Delta 2, Romeo Oscar Delta, about northeast Dallas. Did I get that right, Rod?
Not quite. Romeo Oscar Delta is my name, Rod. The call sign you had correct. Kilo Delta 2, Romeo Alpha, Quebec. Go ahead. Sorry for the late check-in, too, guys.
Okay, right. When I heard your name, I thought maybe it might be a vanity, but okay, I got you. Kilo Delta 2, Romeo Alpha, Quebec. That is exactly what I wrote down the first time and then crossed it out. But I rewrote it again. Got you checked in. Okay, let's see. Let's move on. I'm going to check Echolink. Everything looks fine. Let me go to... hold on a sec. Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, where and when you can look through a telescope. Chaz, K5JHA, are they having a star party tonight, like the first of the year, or not? Can you tell us? K5JHA from KE5ICX.
Good evening, everyone. And this is Skynet in 3D. I'm reporting that because we actually have radio frequency, yes, radio stuff, and Echolink, and there's videos. So I think it's Skynet in 3D. This is the first stargazing event for the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas tonight. Isn't that interesting? It's been the entire rest of the year, and we haven't seen anything because of cloudy skies, rain, soggy locations. But tonight is happening. On the third Saturday of each month, Cedar Hill Star Bolt happens at J.W. Williams Park in Cedar Hill, and that's what's going on tonight. Let me see, is there anybody at Cedar Hill tonight that's on ham radio frequency that would like to check in? I guess not. Well, that was worth a try. The first Saturday of each month, Stargazer Star Party happens at Spring Park in Garland. On the second Saturday of each month, Frisco Star Fest at the Frisco's Common Park in Frisco. Of course, the third Saturday, that's tonight, is Cedar Hill Star Bowl at J.W. Williams Park in Cedar Hill. And Stars on Rock is the fourth Saturday in the Shores Park in Rockwall. We also have other observing events, oftentimes on a Tuesday at Farmers Branch. I'd have to look that up to find out when the next one is going to be. All of these happen right around dusk, and that changes with the time of the year. The Cedar Hill Star Bolt tonight started at 8:30, and I was hoping that someone would be there and transmitting back. I hope to be transmitting live from some of them here in the future. Also, the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas has meetings. They have a meeting on the fourth Friday of each month. Okay, that's on January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. But in November, they actually have it on the third Friday because the fourth Friday will be right after Thanksgiving, and it doesn't work out too well. And in December, we usually have some sort of holiday thing that happens on some other date. So at least 10 months of the year, we meet at the University of Texas at Dallas at the Science Learning Center, the first floor lecture hall, and it starts at 7:30. We actually have some events usually happening at 7 o'clock for new members and orientation, but 7:30 is when the meeting officially starts. Please park in lot number H. Other lots could be a problem because you might get a ticket. Let me see. I think I've covered everything. Does anybody need a fills on information from the Texas Astronomical Society? Okay. I guess the Skynet and 3D is back to you, Tom. KF5JHA.
Very good. Thank you, Chad. And this is KE5ICX. Net control for tonight. Skynet. Let's move on to National Space Society events and activities. Bill, N5BB. You got anything for us this evening? Go ahead. Net's yours.
Tom in the net. This is N5BB. Yes, I do. National Space Society meets on the second Sunday of every month, starting at 3:30 p.m. at Spring Creek Barbecue in Irving. This is on the southwest corner of Highway 183 and Beltline, a couple of miles east of the south entrance of DFW Airport. The last meeting was this last Sunday, the 14th. I was there, as well as Brenda was there, and at least 3 other hams, by the way. And there are other hams that we know that are members, like Jonathan Brandenburg joined a couple of months ago. He wasn't there, though. Anyway, the speaker was Alexandra Chekhov. Alexandra, at this last meeting, Alexandra is a school teacher in Fort Worth, but she's very interested in space, and she's part of the NASA space I'm forgetting the term. It's a public outreach program, and so she was selected to be one of the people on her own dime. They didn't pay for the trip to go to Florida for the SpaceX Demonstration Mission 1 launch that occurred a few weeks ago. And this is on March the 8th. So SpaceX launched from Cape Canaveral the Crew Dragon capsule to the ISS for the first time. And it was a successful launch and mission. Anyway, she gave us a lot of overview of it. She had photographs and lots of discussion on what she saw there and the launch site and what it looked like when it took off, and et cetera, which is very early in the morning. It was very early when it took off. So that's what happened in the last meeting. There's a lot of things coming up. A whole lot of things. So the next meeting of the North Texas section of the National Space Society will be on the second Sunday of May, which is Sunday, May the 12th, again, 3:30 p.m. At Spring Creek Barbecue in Irving. The events coming up, there are many. National Space Society is participating on, let's see, let me get these right here. On Friday, April the 26th, this is coming Friday at 5:30 p.m. at the St. Mark Catholic School STEM Fair on Alma Drive in Plano. NASA astronaut Ken Reitler will be the keynote speaker. So that will be there, and the National Space Society will have a presentation, the Moon, Asteroids, and Mars, the future of space flight, as well as a table. I'm not sure if I will be there. Then on May the 4th, Saturday, we will have Star Wars Day at the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History. You notice this is May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Star Wars Day at the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History, Gindy Street in Fort Worth. This is over near the museums in Fort Worth. It's right adjacent to Amon Carter, etc. Museum. And the North Texas National Space Society will have display tables, etc. And there will be 2 30-minute presentations. And I do plan to be there that afternoon. Then in Richardson, the following Saturday, May the 11th, is the UT Dallas STEM Fest. And the Circle 10 Council of the Boy Scouts is organizing this, and there will be display tables, things about space there. That is in Richardson, UT Dallas STEM Fest at the UT Dallas Admission and Visitor Center on Loop Road in Richardson. May the 11th, Saturday. There's a possibility National Space Society of North Texas may assist with an event in Wichita Falls on Saturday, June the 15th, the future space flight, but that's not yet set in stone. Then we plan to be participating with Space Day at the South Irving Public Library, which is actually in Central Irving. It's right across the street from Irving City Hall. On Saturday, June the 15th. Not sure of the time yet. And this is at the library, a summer reading event, and then we're going to have a National Space Society event there. We're not sure exactly what's going to happen yet, but right now it's scheduled for Saturday, June the 15th. Asteroid Day is planned for the Burroughs Museum on June the 29th. That's a Saturday. So there's events there. We've participated in that before. Then there's an event on July the 13th,
Space Day at Weatherford Public Library. So there's things going on there. And then, of course, we have the 60th anniversary of the Apollo landing of the moon. Moon Day 60 at the Frontiers of Flight Museum on Saturday, July the 20th. And Dallas Amateur Club and National Space Society will be there at that event. So, a lot of space-related things going on here in the near future. At the same time, we're trying to arrange some kind of event involved with the rocket company that builds rockets out between Caddo Mills and Greenville on the east side of Austin. It's Exos Aerospace, but we don't have a specific date yet for any event there. We're trying to get him to bring a rocket to one of our other events. And there are a lot of other things going on with manned spacecraft. Both Boeing and SpaceX, by the end of this year, hopefully, plan to maybe have men, or humans, I should say, going up in their capsules for the first time. This is quite possible. So lots of going on with manned spacecraft as well as unmanned spacecraft. That's all I got, N5BB.
Very good. Thank you much for that, Bill. Does anybody need any fills? Please come with your call sign. Hey, very good. Well, we will move on. Mike, who was our presenter last week, I asked him, I was in dire straits, and he said he would put together a presentation this evening. So, Mike, KG5P, he's got something on supernovas, because our movie this evening is about supernovas, but I think this is going to be a much better presentation than Supernova the movie. Mike, KG5P, what do you got for us this evening about supernovas? By the way, you can check all of this and the streams and everything for video. You'll see some of the photos that Bill provided over on the stream on w5fc.org. So, Mike, KG5P, go ahead. What do you got for us this evening?
Okay, good evening, Tom. Well, the movie tonight is Supernova. I did some quick research to cobble some stuff together on supernovas. My source information here was the Night Sky Observer's Guide, Volume 1, by Keppel and Sander. Now, Keppel and Sander are sort of fixtures at the Texas Star Party. They're there every year in the vendor shack, and they've so far published 4 books. They also sell a lot of interesting things like astro art and stuff like that, astro photos. So I really only had to go one place to get this information, and there's a ton of it out there, so I had to kind of cut down and just see what had to do with supernovas and also what's not a supernova. Okay, the movie tonight was Supernovas, and I've only seen about half of it. It's about a 3-hour movie, and my attention span doesn't last that long. So I still haven't seen anything in the movie that has anything to do with supernovas. But should it have something to do with it, it's not really possible for our sun to ever go into a supernova. That's not entirely true. There's one exception, but I'll talk about that at the end. I'm going to talk a little bit about the fate of stars and how they're determined by their mass, both with a solar-sized star and then a giant star. So the mass of a star is what determines its evolution and fate. You have these red dwarfs that are M and K type stars, and they have really no evolutionary history. They'll just continue to glow faintly until the very end of time, or whatever comes first. type and high mass stars are not only evolving toward an inevitable extinction, they have radically different evolutionary histories that climax in dramatically different deaths. In the case of a solar mass star, when the hydrogen is exhausted, the hydrogen burning continues in a shell around the inert helium core. By burning, I mean the conversion of hydrogen into helium with the release of energy. Required for hydrogen exhaustion is our sun about 7 billion years. Hydrogen burning shell slowly eats upward towards the star's surface. It leaves in its wake an increasingly more massive helium core, which slowly gravitationally contracts and heats. This increase of energy from this hydrogen shell burning and from this helium core contraction increases the star's overall luminosity, and it expands its outer layers, which cool. Hence, the star begins evolving up and off the main sequence toward the upper right quadrant, where here's red giants live. This is on the HR diagram, becoming what we call a class 3 red giant. This is a very leisurely process, and a solar mass star requires around 2 billion years. A lot of stuff that goes on in the interim, but I'm going to bypass all that. So I'll go straight to the final cycle for a star like the Sun. The helium core eventually becomes so great that the core becomes degenerate. That is to say, the electrons become so packed together that they can't be packed any tighter due to what's called the Pauli exclusionary principle. This luminosity, and evolves back down the red giant phase with hydrogen burning in the shell and helium burning in the core, and a mass of only about 70% of the Sun's mass. The decrease in mass occurred while the star was near the tip of this red giant branch, and strong stellar winds of particles escaped from its atmosphere. So after 70 or 80 million years or so, the helium at the very center of the star's core is exhausted, and helium burning continues in a shell around an inert but extremely hot core of oxygen and carbon. And eventually this oxygen and carbon core gravitationally contracts. Again, by burning, the helium is fused into oxygen, and then which is later fused into carbon. And all this results in a release of energy. From here, the outer layers are fraught with instability and expand to what is called, it moves up into what's called the RR strip and starts to pulsate. These pulsations become so extreme that they reach escape velocity, the matter of the star, and are puffed out into space as a planetary nebula. Well, the loss of the star's hydrogen-rich envelope puts an end to its hydrogen-burning shell, and the helium-burning shell fizzles out as well. The inner layers begin to contract and become even hotter. Thus, the expanding planetary nebula exposes a naked stellar object which appears to be very luminous, or slightly luminous. This star, called an O-type subdwarf, is very blue, very hot, but very small, and consequently relatively faint. The stellar core becomes sufficiently dense to drop into electron degeneracy, and this officially becomes a white dwarf. A typical white dwarf packs nearly the mass of the Sun into a sphere about the size of the Earth, and a teaspoon of this stuff would weigh about several tons. A stellar remnant less than 1 times the mass of the Sun, no further contraction is possible, So the white dwarf has no further energy source and simply radiates its residual energy away, maybe for billions of years. And this is going to be the fate of our sun. Another planetary nebula that you may see, and you can actually see it here from the Dallas area, is M57, the Ring Nebula in Lyra. Quite interesting and easily to spot. High mass star, the evolution is entirely different than a solar mass star. The high solar mass star does not have hydrogen burning taking place in its compact core, but throughout an extended central region containing about 20% of the star's mass. Hydrogen fuel gives out in this extended core. Hydrogen burning shifts into a thick shell surrounding the now inert helium core, which rapidly contracts. All this extra energy is absorbed in expanding the star's outer layers, and quickly, by quickly I mean like maybe 250,000 years for a 9 solar mass star, from a big subgiant type to a red type supergiant. So now this red supergiant star has a hydrogen burning shell around a contracting helium core that is even becoming denser and hotter. However, because the initially lower central density of this massive star, the red supergiant's contracting helium core will not drop into degeneracy until it becomes sufficiently hot enough, about 80 million degrees Kelvin, to ignite the helium and convert the helium into oxygen and carbon. However, extremely massive stars, 15 solar masses or more, helium ignition, in fact, takes place while the star is expanding into the red supergiant. As of, say, more than 9 or 10 solar masses, the contracting inert carbon core reaches ignition temperature before dropping into degeneracy itself, nucleosynthesizing oxygen. In extremely massive stars, the resulting oxygen core in turn ignites nucleosynthesizing neon. This cycle, core exhaustion, core contraction, and core ignition repeats until it has an onion shell of superimposed layers of successfully heavier elements. But the cycle ends with iron, catastrophically. The nucleosynthesized iron, if you try to convert that into heavier elements, this does not release energy, it absorbs energy. Hence, core contraction accelerates and the core rapidly increases in temperature and density because it's contracting. Obviously, this can't go on indefinitely. In fact, at a temperature of about 5 billion Kelvin, the iron nuclei disintegrates into helium nuclei again and free neutrons. And this absorbs so much more energy in the process, it is as if the core had been bodily removed from the interior of the star. When this happens, nothing is actually holding up the upper portions of the star. And what happens then is the star's upper layers just violently implode. Okay, this resulting explosion or implosion releases huge quantities of neutrinos carrying enormous amounts of energy. This was first observed from the 1987 supernova in the Lesser Magellanic Cloud prior to its visual brightening. Meanwhile, the outer layers rebound. Basically, they just bounce back off with in this terrific explosion, and this is what we call a supernova. The energy output produced by a supernova is something like 2 times 10 to the 44th joules per second. Because the energy of the sun is about 3.8 times 10 to the 26th joules per second, and they're about 3.2 times 10 to the 7th seconds in a year, the amount of time necessary for the sun to radiate as much energy that is generated in a single supernova explosion, it would take 16 million years for the sun to do that. But the sun's lifetime is only about 10 billion years, so it can never release as much energy in its entire lifetime than a supernova could release in maybe a few weeks. The fate of a supernova's collapse depends upon its mass. So here's the deal. If it's less than about 2.25 solar masses, the gravitational collapse will end when its protons and electrons have been smashed together into neutrons. This will result in an object only about a dozen miles in diameter, but has an incredibly rapid rotational speed. This is due to the conservation of momentum. And this will produce an object called a pulsar. We know pulsars out there that actually spin at the rate of 30 times a second. More than 2.25 solar masses, a collapsed supernova remnant has enough gravity to overcome even this degenerate neutron pressure, crushing it into what's called a Schwarzschild radius, or Schwarzschild discontinuity, better known as a black hole. This object is so dense that the escape velocity at its surface is greater than the speed of light. Such objects contain several solar masses of material. In the state of what actually goes inside, we don't really know, because nobody's ever looked into one. And this is in a sphere of about 4 miles across, and it has a nasty habit of sucking just about everything unfortunate enough to get into its gravitational well. In fact, some black holes, such as that orbiting Cygnus X1, which is near the center of our galaxy in supergiant star HDD 226868, are thought to be ingesting their companion stars and which are being superheated to such high temperatures that the material that they're emitting causes extreme amounts of X-rays to be emitted. Okay, now this is what we call type 2 supernovas, and these are stars that probably 8, 9, 10s the mass of the Earth. I mean the Sun. 8, 9, or 10 solar masses, depending on where you get your information. So for the Earth to go supernova in this fashion, it'd be entirely impossible. Now, there is a way for the Earth to go supernova, and it's a different mechanism called a Type 1A supernova. I don't mean this Earth, I keep saying the Earth, I mean the Sun. But to do that, it takes a particular set of requirements, which we don't have here. The main requirement is that the Sun would have to be part of a binary star system and would have already evolved to the white dwarf stage, and its companion would be a red dwarf, or a red giant star, the earlier stage in the evolution. Then what would happen is the white dwarf would suck off pieces or matter out of the red giant companion, and by the time it reached about 1.4 solar masses, it would reach, this is called the so-called Chandrasekhar limit, and then that star would supernova. So that's the only way that a star, the Sun, could supernova, which would be called a Type 1A supernova, and these are fairly rare. I've only read about several of them in my lifetime. One was about 10 years ago. And it won't happen to our Sun either, because we don't have any binary companions. So that about sums things up. For more information, we have the Afterglow movie tonight, which I haven't seen all of it yet, but I haven't seen anything about supernovas, so that part hasn't been presented yet. So I'm going to turn it back to Tom, or anybody, if you have any questions, I can take those too. So back to Ned, this is KG5P.
All right, thank you, Mike. Anybody have any questions for Mike? Contact KG5P direct. I will take additional check-ins then. Anybody who'd like to join us this evening, let us know you're out there. Please come now with your call sign name, where you're transmitting from.
KC5LEI, name's Marvin, and I am mobile, headed down Preston Road back to Mesquite.
Okay, I got Marvin, KC5LEI, mobile, headed back to Mesquite. All right, welcome, Marvin. We've got a lot of new people on this evening, which is really cool. I like that a lot. Let's see, next up on the list, let me check link. It says, K5JHA says this is Chaz. What's up is next. So get your questions and answers ready. So if you have questions about astronomy, we have a professional astronomer, not an amateur astronomer, although they're pretty smart. We have a professional astronomer who has to be smart, so be aware of that. He's next. K5JHA, Chaz. You are up, sir. This is KE5ICX.
Thank you, Tom. ICX, this is KF5JHA. Tom, looks like N5OF Clay wants to check in through Echo Linky. Put that in the chat window as well. So good evening, everyone. This is Chaz. My degree is in astrophysics. I work at Brookhaven Community College. We call this segment of Skynet Skynet in 3D. Last week, I covered moon phases and promised to talk about Easter this week because it has a connection to a full moon. So here we go. Many holidays on our current calendar are fixed, like the date of Valentine's Day is always February 14th, St. Patrick's Day is March the 17th, Christmas Day is on December the 25th. Some holidays are defined as the first Monday of the month, like Labor Day, or the last Monday of the month, like Memorial Day, or the fourth Thursday of the month. Can you guess that one? Yeah, it's Thanksgiving. Then there's this holiday, Easter, that's somewhere between the dates of March 22nd and April 25th each year. Why? The simple explanation is that Easter is defined as the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox. But it's a little bit more complicated than that. So this is where we need to do some exploration. But before we get started with that, here's an Easter bunny joke. So what do you call a rabbit with fleas? Now, let's wait a moment. Yes, I see some hands raised out there. What do you call a rabbit with fleas? Bugs Bunny. I'm sure you like that one. Okay, this is KF5JHA, and this is Skynet in 3D on the Dallas repeater 146.88 with a PL tone of 110.9. The determination of Easter has to do with a lunar calendar and not as much to do with the modified Gregorian calendar that we are using daily. The Gregorian calendar is primarily a solar calendar. Several religions use lunar-based calendars to celebrate their holidays. The Chinese celebrate their New Year's on the first day of the first lunar month of their year, but that doesn't fall on January 1st of the Gregorian calendar. The Chinese calendar is based on both the moon and the sun, and is so considered a lunisolar calendar. Ramadan is celebrated by the Islamic religion with using their Islamic calendar, which is primarily a lunar calendar. Maybe I should talk about some facts first. The Earth does not orbit the sun in an even number of days. It takes approximately 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes, and 46 seconds to orbit the sun. This is called the tropical year, or the year of the seasons. It's the length of time to go from one vernal equinox to the next vernal equinox. I could use the sidereal year, which compares the Earth's orbit to the background stars, which is approximately 365 days, 6 hours, 9 minutes, 9 seconds, which is 20 minutes, 24 seconds longer than the tropical year. But I'm not going to use that. I hope I'm not confusing you yet. Why are those different lengths of years. That's an entire different discussion for another time. Since the Earth goes around the sun in 365 days and some change, if we only use 365 days as the year, then after a while the calendar is off by a few days, then a few weeks, then a few months. And Christmas would be celebrated in the hottest part of the year for the Northern Hemisphere. So we add an extra day every 4 years, but not always. There are exceptions when the year can be divided by 100 or divisible by 400 or, well, okay, you get the idea. The Mayans had a different idea for a calendar. They had 12 months that each had 30 days. The total 360 days in their year. And every 6 years, they added an extra month to synchronize with the sun. If you think that is confusing, let's talk about the moon. The lunar phase cycle, or the synodic month, is going from one new moon to the next new moon. It's approximately 29.530587981 days long. Approximately. Dividing the number of days in the year by the number of days in the synodic lunar month does not give a nice even whole number of days. So the Gregorian calendar, the year, and the synodic lunar month get shifted all the time. So a full moon doesn't always happen on the same date of each month. I hope that much is understandable. So back to our story of when the date for Easter can be determined. Easter, or Resurrection Day, is celebrated in the spring and is connected to the Jewish holiday of Passover, which is also held in the spring. So Passover is the celebration when God freed the Hebrew people and Moses led them out of Egypt. This celebration has gone on for thousands of years, and the Jewish people have tried to visit, or it's a pilgrimage to them, to the temple, that was a long time ago, in Jerusalem during Passover. It took some time to travel by foot, depending on the length it was between them and where Jerusalem was. But if you could afford a donkey, you might go a little bit faster. Traveling at night would speed up the trip, but, there wasn't streetlights a long time ago. So a full moon would allow for night travel. Passover is celebrated on the 15th day of the Jewish month of Nisan, which would place the Passover in the middle of the lunar month, so right around full moon. The Jewish calendar is a lunisolar calendar. In other words, a combination of lunar and solar. Since the 4th century, the dates have been mathematically determined for Passover. We'll get to that in a few minutes. Historically, we know that Christ's trial and crucifixion happened during Passover. All right, by agreement of the Council of Nicaea in the year 325, they set the date for the vernal equinox as always March 21st for the purposes of calculation of Easter. In reality, with leap years, the equinox varies from March 19th to March 22nd. So having the equinox for calculating Easter to be always on March 21st makes the calculation maybe a little bit easier. Okay, now, in 2019, the vernal equinox, that's this year, was on March 20th at 4:58 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And the first full moon after that was just a few hours later on March 20th at 8:43 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And the Sunday after that was March 24th. So why wasn't Easter on March 24th? Okay, so with our simple rule of Easter being the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring, vernal equinox, then this year's Easter should have been on March 24th rather than what it really is, which is tomorrow, April the 21st. But you might not know until now why, because the Council of Nicaea says March 21st is always the equinox. Then in 2019, the full moon after March 21st falls on April 19th at 6:12 a.m. Central Daylight Time. That was yesterday. And the Sunday after that is tomorrow, April the 21st. That's why this year's celebration of Easter is tomorrow. Now you probably know more than you wanted to know about the length of the year, the length of the lunar cycle, and possible dates for Easter. Easter eggs, Easter bunnies, Easter baskets are all an entire different story for another time. But that reminds me, why did the Easter egg hide? Because he was a little chicken. Oh, come on, that was funny. Okay, this is KF5JHA, and this is Skynet. And the Dallas repeater, 146.88 megahertz with a Fialto of 110.9. Now let's switch topics and look at some events. The end up was up. The moon was full again yesterday on April 19th. So right now the phase of the moon is a waning gibbous. On the night of April 22nd, 23rd, we have the Lyrid meteor showers. Maximum. The meteor showers are named after the constellations in which they seem to originate. And the Lyrid meteor shower seems to come from the constellation of Lyra. That's the star that Vega is in, and that's really close to the ring nebula that Mike was talking about earlier. On a clear, moonless night, this meteor shower could produce about 20 meteors per hour in the morning sky. Unfortunately, this year, it's a waning gibbous moon that's in the sky during the peak, so maybe only a few meters might be able to be seen. The moon will be in conjunction with Jupiter on April the 23rd. The moon will be in conjunction with Saturn just a couple of days later on April the 25th. The moon will be at its third quarter phase on April the 26th. The moon is at apogee on April the 28th with a distance of 404,577 kilometers. And the moon will be in conjunction with Venus on May the 2nd. And the moon is in conjunction with Mercury on May the 3rd. You can find Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, Mercury, and all in the early morning sky. The moon will be new on May the 4th. And Mike, you've already said that. Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. In the evening sky, we can see the pale orange planet Mars in the upper right of Aldebaran, which is the brightest star in the constellation of Taurus. So, do any of you out there in Radio Lab have any questions or need a fill on any of the information, or do you have a general question about astronomy? I don't know everything, but I might know the answer to your question. Come now with your call sign if you have a question. Mike, I really had a blast listening to your topic tonight. Go ahead. What's your question?
Okay, well, I didn't want you to feel left out if you didn't get a question. So my question is, how long does it take to cook a 3-minute egg?
I think that's 180 seconds, but I'll look that up and get back with you. Okay. Just a quick note to everyone. Next Saturday, April the 27th, I will be on the road to the Texas Star Party. I'll try to do a write-up for What's Up. I might not be able to read it. I might not be able to get on Echolink. Someone else might need to fill in and read my What's Up write-up. On Saturday, May the 5th, again Star Wars Day, I'll be at the Texas Star Party. If I can get on the internet, get logged into Echolink, I'll give a live report from the Texas Star Party. I hope it is clear that night. And one last note, if you have not heard, the UNT observing site just outside Denton, called the Race Urban Astronomy Center, was hit by the storm really hard on Wednesday night. Roofs are blown off, telescopes are damaged. It's a mess. It may have been straight-line winds or even a weak tornado. So I've asked if they needed any help, but they thought that they were okay with doing the cleanup right now with the staff that they had. Okay, one more joke for the road. What do you call an egg from outer space? An extraterrestrial. Okay, this is Chaz, KF5JHA, and that's all for this week's What's up? I hope you have an exciting time tomorrow on Easter. Tom, get me out of this. Back to Net Control. KF5JJ.
Okay, thank you, Chaz. I think this is KE5ICX. I'm Net Control for tonight's Skynet. I'm going to recognize N5OF is checked in. I think I got him right. Let's see. What's next? Oh, we have Miss Brenda, WB5OZL. She has some articles from Science Daily. So, Miss Brenda, you're up. This is KE5ICX.
Thank you, Tom. This is WB5OZL. The first article is entitled, Mercury Has a Solid Inner Core, New Evidence. Scientists have long known that Earth and Mercury have metallic cores. Like Earth, Mercury's outer core is composed of liquid metal, but there have been only hints that Mercury's innermost core is solid. Now in a new study, scientists report evidence that Mercury's inner core is indeed solid, and it is very nearly the same size as Earth's solid inner core. Some scientists compare Mercury to a cannonball because its metal core fills nearly 85% of the volume of the planet. This large core, huge compared to the other rocky planets in our solar system, has long been one of the most intriguing mysteries about Mercury. Scientists also wondered whether Mercury might have a solid inner core. The findings of Mercury's solid inner core, published in AGU's journal Geophysical Research Letters, help scientists better understand Mercury, but also offers clues about how the solar system formed and how rocky planets change over time. Mercury's interior is still active due to the molten core that powers the planet's weak magnetic field relative to Earth's, said Antonio Genova, an assistant professor at Sapienza University of Rome, who led the research while at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. Mercury's interior has cooled more rapidly than our planet's. Mercury may help us predict how Earth's magnetic field will change as the core cools. To figure out what Mercury's core is made of, Genova and his colleagues had to get figuratively closer. The team used several observations from NASA's Messenger mission to probe Mercury's interior. The researchers looked, most importantly, at the planet's spin and gravity. Messenger spacecraft entered orbit around Mercury in March 2011 and spent 4 years observing this nearest planet to our sun until it was deliberately brought down to the planet's surface in April 2015. Scientists used radio observations from Messenger to determine Mercury's gravitational anomalies, areas of local increases or decreases in mass, and the location of its rotational pole, which allowed them to understand the orientation of the planet. Each planet spins on an axis, also known as the pole. Mercury spins much more slowly than Earth, with its day lasting about 58 Earth days. Scientists often use tiny variations in the way an object spins to reveal clues about its internal structure. In 2007, radar observations made from Earth revealed small shifts in Mercury's spin called librations that proved some of the planet's core must be liquid molten metal. But observations of the spin rate alone were not sufficient to give a clear measurement of what the inner core was like. Could there be a solid core lurking underneath? Scientists wondered. Gravity can help answer that question. Gravity is a powerful tool to look at the deep interior of a planet because it depends on the planet's density structure, said Sandra Gushins, a researcher at NASA Goddard and co-author of the new study.
As Messenger orbited Mercury over the course of its mission and got closer and closer to the surface, scientists recorded how the spacecraft accelerated under the influence of the planet's gravity. The density structure of a planet can create subtle changes in a spacecraft's orbit. In the later parts of the mission, Messenger flew about 120 miles above the surface and less than 65 miles during the last year. The final low-altitude orbits provided the best data yet and allowed for Genova and his team to make the most accurate measurements about the internal structure of Mercury yet taken. Genova and his team put data from Messenger into a sophisticated computer program that allowed them to adjust parameters and figure out what the interior composition of Mercury must be like to match the way it spins and the way the spacecraft accelerated around it. The results showed that for the best match, Mercury must have a large, solid inner core. They estimated that the solid iron core is about 1,260 miles wide and makes up about half Mercury's entire core, about 2,440 miles wide. In contrast, Earth's solid core is about 1,500 miles across, taking up a little more than a third of this planet's entire core. We had to pull together information from many fields: geodesy, geochemistry, orbital mechanics, and gravity to find out what Mercury's internal structure must be, said Erwin Mazarico, a planetary scientist at NASA Goddard and co-author of the new study. The fact that scientists needed to get close to Mercury to find out more about its interior highlights the power of sending spacecraft to other worlds, according to the researchers. Such accurate measurements of Mercury's spin and gravity were simply not possible to make from Earth. New discoveries about Mercury are practically guaranteed to be waiting in Messenger's archives, with each discovery about our local planetary neighborhood giving us a better understanding of what lies beyond. Every new bit of information about our solar system helps us understand the larger universe, Genova said. Okay, the next article is entitled How to Defend the Earth from Asteroids. A mere 17-20 meters across, the Chelyabinsk meteor caused extensive ground damage and numerous injuries when it exploded on impact with Earth's atmosphere on February 2013. To prevent another such impact, Amy Mainzer and colleagues used a simple yet ingenious way to spot these tiny near-Earth objects, NEOs, as they hurtle towards the planet. She is the principal investigator of NASA's asteroid hunting mission at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California, and will outline the work of NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office this week at the American Physical Society April meeting in Denver, including her team's NEO recognition method and how it will aid the efforts to prevent future Earth impacts. If we find an object only days from impact, it greatly limits our choices. So in our search efforts, we focused on finding NEOs when they are further away from Earth, providing the maximum amount of time and opening up a wider range of mitigation possibilities, Mainzer said. But it's a difficult task, like spotting a lump of coal in the night sky, Mainzer explained. NEOs are intrinsically faint because they are mostly really small and far away from us in space, she said. Add to this the fact that some of them are as dark as printer toner, and trying to spot them against black space is very hard. Instead of using visible light to spot incoming objects, Mainzer's team at JPL Caltech has leveraged the characteristic signature of NEOs, their heat. Asteroids and comets are warmed by the sun and so glow brightly at thermal wavelengths, infrared, making them easier to spot with the Near-Earth Object Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer, that's called NEOWISE, telescope. With the NEOWISE mission, we can spot objects regardless of their surface color and use it to measure their sizes and other surface properties, Mainzer said. Discovering NEO's surface properties provides Mainzer and her colleagues an insight into how big the objects are and what they're made of, both critical details in mounting a defense strategy against an Earth-threatening NEO. For instance, one defensive strategy is to physically nudge a NEO away from an Earth impact trajectory. But to calculate the energy required for that nudge, details of NEO mass and therefore size and composition are necessary. Astronomers also think that examining the composition of asteroids will help to understand how the solar system was formed. These objects are intrinsically interesting because some are thought to be as old as the original material that made up the solar system, Mainzer said. One of the things we've been finding is that NEOs are pretty diverse in composition. Mainzer is now keen to leverage advances in camera technology to aid in the search for NEOs. We're proposing to NASA a new telescope, the Near Earth Object Camera, NEOCAM, to do a much more comprehensive job of mapping asteroid locations and measuring their sizes, Mainzer said. NASA is not the only space agency trying to understand NEOs. For instance, the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency, JAXA's, Hayabusa 2's mission plans to collect samples from an asteroid. And in her presentation, Mainzer will explain how NASA works with the global space community in an international effort to defend the planet from NEO impact. Okay, that's the Best of Science Daily. So back to Nat. This is WB5OZL.
Thank you, Miss Brenda. And this is KE5ICX on net control for tonight's Skynet. Take final check-ins. If you'd like to join us this evening, please come now with your call sign name and your location. Let us know you're out there, because we don't know if you are or not. You might be, or you might not. Please come now.
Alpha 5, Alpha Hotel, Robert Richardson.
I'm completely operational and all my circuits are functioning perfectly.
Afterglow movie now.
Whiskey 5, Echo Bravo Bravo. David, I think I'm in Dallas. Golf 5, Uniform, Foxtrot Romeo, Jacob, Roy City, Texas.
All right, let me get those three, and maybe I missed it. Somebody, I'll get one final round. AA5AH, Robert over in Richardson, welcome it back. W5EBB, David in Dallas. I know you're waiting for the next net. Thanks for checking in. KT5UFR, Jacob in Roy City. We got a lot of new people that showed up this evening. Thank you for checking in. Any other final check-ins? I will also check Echolink. Anybody else would like to join us? That very weak station. I forgot about that. I didn't put an asterisk in. There's a very weak station. I cannot hear you. Your audio is low, and your signal is holding the repeater, but it's about 90% noise. I'll give you an extra chance there if you would. If I could pull you out, I would. I've not been able to. So if you would like, I know you want to join us, try one more time.
November 5, Hotel Yankee Passat, Tom Irving.
15HYP Tom over in Irving. He's checked in. Did anybody get a relay on that? I really tried very hard to hear that one station. Did anybody, can somebody relay that final station? All right, I'm sorry that final station that tried to check in, I could not make out the audio. My apologies to you. I'm glad you checked in. You may want to check your antenna or increase power, but in either case, you were real light into the repeater. I could not hear you, but we got you in spirit. Thank you for checking in. This evening, we had 26 people who checked in. That's not bad. Not bad at all. We hope you'll join us here next week and every Saturday night at 9 p.m. to discuss astronomy, space, and space exploration on this net. The sky is never the limit. We're always looking for net control stations for this and all the DARC nets. If you'd like to try your hand at this, contact any of the net controls by sending an email to nets@w5fc.org. You can follow topics and discussion about this net and astronomy in general on Facebook and Twitter, as well as the audio-video feeds and video archives and other useful internet resources by going to the club website, which is w5fc.org, at the conclusion of this net. Until next Saturday night, this is Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-Ray. My name's Tom, and I'll be closing the net at 22:32 local time and returning the repeater to normal amateur use. We're going to take about a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back for the Afterglow movie net, where we'll be talking about, not Afterglow, but what the hell was this thing called? Supernova from 2005. Yeah, 5 minutes from now. This is KE5ICX. We're clear.
Other Texas Star Party RVers out there tonight? B5P, we'll be there. Oh, awesome. We head out Saturday. I don't want to be too long. I know that other net's coming on, but I head out Saturday with a buddy of mine. We're going to be driving out there in a little casita and staying at the Monahan Sandhill State Park Saturday evening, and then going on in Sunday for the Star Party. KC5LEI. All right, KC5LEI, KG5P. Well, I'll be doing the same. I'm going to overnight at Monahan's as well, but I'll be leaving on Thursday. So that I'm going to get there Saturday morning. I volunteered to help lay power cables. So I'm going to be there a couple days early, or at least one day early. KG5P.
Yeah, I'll be over in, I think, RV Site H, I believe is what I was told. KC5LEI.
Okay, I'll be in RV 33, which is at the south, near the south field. But I always set up at the north field.
Again, before I get out of here.
Yeah, it's Kilo Golf 5 Papa, KG 5P. Name's Mike.
KC5LEI clear.
I drew the short straw, so I get to do the net control for tonight's Afterglow Movie Net. Is this a structured net? Not really. Is it an unstructured net? Not really. In any case, what we do is we talk about good, not so good, bad movies that we've all been assigned to watch. So how do you get this information? It's simple. You go to Afterglow Movie, that's 2 words, over on Facebook. That's one way you do it. And you're able to, I don't know, be able to sign up and to find out what the movie is that's assigned, usually on a Sunday, and then you get to watch it during the week sometime. Let's reset. This is KE5ICX. If you are not a Facebook fan, and there are a lot of folks that are not, that's okay. Send an email to KE5ICX, Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-Ray, at yahoo.com. That's me, Tom, and I will add you to the list. That doesn't mean that you won't be dropped from the list accidentally. I've done that before, but send me an email and say, I hate you, and fix that. And I'll be your friend again, and I will fix it. So in any case, tonight's movie that we'll be discussing is called Supernova from 2005. From 2005, it was a film for the Hallmark Channel. So you can imagine it's very, very serious, and everybody's caring and somehow able to make it through the disaster, whatever that means. So in any case, normally I would get the synopses, but because someone else gave a hilarious synopsis of this film last night or this morning, I'm going to ask Brenda, WB5OZL, would you please give a synopsis, your personal observation of this film. Now, don't give too much away. You know, this is really great stuff, I know. Your thoughts on the, well, not the plot, but your synopsis of this storyline. KC50ZT, go ahead. This is from KE5ICX.
Hey, this is WB5OZL. I don't know about the hilarious part. I did mention some random thoughts to you, but I don't know that I necessarily want to say all these on the air, because they're kind of insulting to the actors. Strange things are happening with the sun. It's pulling off blobs of plasma, of the liquid fire, and hurling them at the Earth. And so they decide, the scientists, the eggheads, that the sun must be much older than we thought, and it may be about to go supernova on them. Which is kind of ridiculous if you read anything about supernovas. It just wouldn't be like this at all. And I don't know why they didn't call it Nova, which is the name of a car that means no-go in Spanish, but that's an aside. So, Luke Perry is the Playboy as our star scientist, and Easy Rider Peter Fonda is a scientist. He disappears. He runs away. He goes to the beach, and he stares at this pretty woman, and somehow they fall in love because they're staring at each other. And he's sitting on the beach, spending his last week on Earth, drinking himself into oblivion. The other scientists are trying to figure it out. They're trying to keep the news of it hidden. from the general population because they're going to run amok. And they have this plan to send the elites down into these underground vaults to survive and keep the population going. And so then there's some cloak and dagger stuff. These people chase each other around. A side story is Luke Perry's wife had witnessed a murder and put away this really horrible criminal, and he's due to be executed. Along the way, he escapes, and he comes looking for her. Has nothing to do with a supernova at all. He goes to the house where they're at, the cabin. By now, Luke Perry has joined them. And I just love this. If you like teen slasher movies, what's the theme? I hear a noise outside. I'll go out by myself in the dark and investigate. And that's what Luke Perry does. Of course, the bad guy jumps on him, and it almost goes badly, but they do vanquish him in the end. Some things get blown up. The house where Peter Fonda and his girlfriend are sitting on the porch gets hit by a fireball, and the arch in St. Louis and Eiffel Tower. Oh, but Notre Dame Cathedral is not hit. You'll be glad to know. And so people are just running amok. Everything is just going horribly, and nobody really knows what to do. So Luke Perry decides to sit down and look at the map, and he discovers that in their original premise that said the Earth is older than we thought, where there should be a minus, there's a plus. And this changes the whole scenario. So they said, well, okay, the fire blobs are going to hit the Earth for a while longer, and then it's going to clear up, and then the supernova is not going to happen. And so everybody lived happily ever after, except for those of us that gave up 2 hours and 45 minutes of our life to watch this turkey. Okay, I've gone on too long. This is WB5OZL. Back to net.
Thank you, Ms. Brenda. It's so nice to have you give us such a detailed and perfectly orchestrated description of this fine film, and then end in such a glorious way, and telling us how wonderful this film was. Okay. This is KE5ICX. I didn't have to do this. I'm so happy Brenda did. I'm going to go ahead and take check-ins. Now, here's the thing. A lot of you didn't want to watch 3 hours, 2 hours, and whatever, what Brenda said. This film. It's okay. You can still check in and talk about, I don't know, supernovas, meteors, whatever the heck you want to talk about in movies, and how bad or good they are, usually bad, and that's okay, because I have to admit, I fell asleep during this movie, and I woke up and went to bed, and I didn't see the movie. And did I want to see it today when I had the chance to just? No, I did not. So I'm the first to admit, I did not see this whole movie. I saw the beginning, I saw telescopes, I saw all of that. It's wonderful. No, it's not. But if you would like to discuss this movie or anything else having to do with being destroyed by things from outer space, usually objects or energy or whatever, you're good to go. Okay, here we go. I will take check-ins. Please come now with your call sign, your name, and where you're well, I don't need the transmitting. Did you see this fine film? That does not eliminate you from discussion. Just let me know if you saw it, yes or no. So, your call sign, your name, did you see this fine film? Please come now.
November 5 EVO, Michael in Plano, and no, I did not lose many hours of my life.
This is November 5 Bravo Bravo, Bill, yes.
November 5, Hotel Yankee Papa. Tom, yes, we watched the entirety of this fine Hallmark greeting card of a movie.
Charlie 5, Oscar Zulu Tango, Carolyn, and I did not see the movie.
Kilo Golf 5 Papa, Mike. Yeah, I watched about half of it. I can't sit in one spot that long and watch the whole movie. I may watch the rest of it later. I haven't seen anything that had anything to do with supernovas, so maybe that's in the last half of the movie.
WB5OZL, Brenda. I did see the movie, and I saw the whole thing. I don't know why. I usually fall asleep in movies, but I did see this. And, well, supernova is a cooler name than random fiery blobs from the sun hitting the Earth.
Golf 5, zombies need jobs, and I was spared the indignity of seeing this debacle. Alpha 5, Alpha Hotel, Robert, I did not see the movie. Echo Bravo Bravo, David, I did see the movie.
Kilo Golf 5, Bravo Zulu Whiskey, J near Woodford, and yeah, I saw it.
Kilo Golf 5, Papa Mike, November, James, Fort Worth. I did not see the movie. I just listened.
All right, let's see here. Let me see here. I got a fill here. Okay, hang on a sec. All right, here's who I have. I think I got everybody filled in. I've got N5EB, Bill. He saw it, yes. KI5EB. Oh, Michael in Plano. Congratulations. I think you did the upgrade. I don't think you saw the film, but if you did, that's okay, because we're going to call on you anyway. N5HYP, Tom and Company, yep, you saw it. The whole thing. My condolences. KC5OZT, Miss Carolyn, no, she did not see the film, but have comments on meteorites and objects destroying mankind. KG5P, Mike, yes, he got about halfway through. I got about 1/3 of the way through, so congratulations, Mike. WB5OZL, Miss Brenda, who gave us the marvelous discussion on this narrative on this film. She saw it. She gets a 1. And let's see, next station, KG5ZNJ. You did not see the film, but be ready. We're going to ask your thoughts on thoughts. AA5AH, Robert, Mobile. Oh, I didn't write down if you saw it. I don't know if you did or not. If you're still there, we'll ask you. Next, W5EBB, David. What a trooper. He saw the film. KG5BZWJ, near Weatherford. He's also a trooper. He saw the film. KG5PMN, James. I think you said no, but we'll call on you if you're still awake. So let's start at the top. Here's how this thing works. This is how this works. First off, we ask you about the plot, or if you've not seen the movie, then your alternate discussion is, what do you think about things pelting the Earth? This is about the plot. This is about the plot. What do you think about the plot itself? We will move on to characterization and things like that later. So the plot. So we're going to start at the very top of the list. The bravest person who walked forward. I am Spartacus Bill, N5BB. Your thoughts about the plot. Go ahead. This is KE5ICX.
I am not Spartacus. N5BB. And the plot. Well, the holes weren't really in the sun's corona. They were in the plot. It was a holy plot. It was wholly full of holes. So, things about the plot that bothered me. Sometime really early in the movie, the phrase include Earth in their telemetry was included. I did not understand what they meant by that. They were talking about asteroid 460. I think it was unrelated to anything else, but I didn't understand that. The email messages that Dr. Shepard, Austin Shepard, sent, self-destructed after being sent. I know the way that the email system works. That doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. They talked about a T1 line, which was kind of quaint for 2005 or whatever this thing came out. They're pretty much gone now, T1 lines. So that's kind of old technology. The thing that was one of the worst, I don't know if I can say the worst, but one of the worst science topics was when they showed this diagram of the Earth and satellites. It showed them being moved around to the, I guess, the far side away from the sun, saying they were, for the satellites that could be moved, they were going to move them in their orbits away so they would be shielded from the sun. If you know anything about why a satellite, and they said they were geosynchronous. So if you know anything about what keeps the satellite, why satellite stays up there, it's falling continuously toward the Earth. It's in the Earth's gravity well, and it's falling continuously to the Earth. But it's going around the Earth just fast enough so that it never hits the Earth. So if you somehow put it in the sun's shadow where it would stay there, I don't know how they do that, a big rocket that would cause that to occur, the satellite would immediately fall into the Earth. There'd be nothing to keep it from doing that. So that was really, really, really bad science. I mean, Newton would have screamed at that one. It didn't require Einstein or anybody else. Newton would have seen that problem. The sun is far older than we had assumed. I don't know how they can figure that out, and that's extremely unlikely. When they got in the helicopter, the person announced, make sure you strap in. They were the people that were stuck in there that were captured were in handcuffs. They couldn't put their seatbelts on, and they didn't attempt to. In fact, nobody did. And later on, when they're getting ready to crash, you'll see that nobody is wearing seatbelts. No wonder that most of them got killed. They didn't bother to put the seatbelts on. Let's see, what else? Oh, the Maldives, where Dr. Alan Shepard, Peter Fonda went. In there it shows him sitting in there, the bar and everything, looking out at the huge mountain adjacent to the island he's on. Go and look up the Maldives. It's in the Indian Ocean and way separated from the continent. And in the whole Maldives, all those little coral atoll islands. Coral atoll means they're just barely above the ocean surface. The highest elevation is 2.4 meters. 2.4 meters, which is about the height of a tall basketball player. There wouldn't be any mountains visible from there. And of course, we have the fireballs, which were, I don't know where they were supposed to have come from. The sun, I guess. Some mysterious thing caused the plasma to break up into fireballs and shoot across at those angles into the earth, just like in some other movies over the last 25 years. They've shown that several times in different movies, so I'm guessing some of that footage was from other movies with incoming fireballs like that. They like to show that kind of stuff at those angles. And it was way too long. I fast-forwarded through quite a bit of it because it just was impossible to make it through it. There was no reason for the plot about the serial murderer who escaped and went back and threatened them. And in the last minute, right before her husband was killed, she shoots him. Very melodramatic, very crazy plot. Completely unrelated to the rest of the movie. Just done to make the movie longer. I don't know. Bad. It's Habibi.
All right, well, thank you, Bill. Okay, everybody who is, listening in, I would suggest you take sharp objects and put them away, lock them up, because we're talking about Supernova from 2005. Channel disaster film. Well, all Hallmark Channel movies are disasters, but that's just my opinion. Okay. Next up is Michael, KI5EBO. I know you did not see the film, but what do you think about things falling from the sky? If you're still there, it's okay. You can discuss anything you want to regarding, SF films with stuff falling from the sky. Go ahead. Michael, you're up. This is KE5ICX, and this is After Golf.
Alrighty, KF5EBO. I don't know what I could possibly say, even if I had seen the film, after Bill's excellent discussion about all of the plot holes or problems or what Hollywood typically does. Honestly, I would call this film Stupid Nova as opposed to Supernova, but anyway, Hollywood tends to break just about anything. If you know anything at all about computers, every time there's a computer in a film, you cringe because it's just so wrong. And I think that pretty much goes with everything anywhere reasonably technical, anything technical that happens in a Hollywood film, be very, very suspicious. And people that know the technology, know the field, it's just like, oh, that's so wrong. It's so common. far as things falling from the sky, I mean, just the idea, the plot of the thing, that something coming off the sun, making it 93 million miles to here, and has, little b-balls of it, hit buildings or whatever. I'm pretty sure that anything big enough to come from the sun and make it all the way to here would cover the entire Earth in one shot. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of at a loss for words at the moment, and Bill said so much that I'm still thinking about some of it and still giggling about some of the things, the T1 lines and emails and self-destruct. I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for words at the moment, so back to the net.
So, Michael, you did great, especially after you seen this film. You actually had great comments. I'm good with that, personally, because I'm not control. I can do whatever I want. N5HYP, Tom, your comments, I know you've got an extended group of people forced, actually interested in this film. Go ahead. N5HYP from KE5ICX.
This is N5HYP.
Okay, Tom did not recharge his battery. I'll see if I can send him a note to tell him that his battery is dead. N5HYP, Tom, try again.
Okay, I moved my position. Is this better?
You're about 20% noise. That's perfect. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I had moved from one room to the other. I was saying that Holly, is one who really likes cheesy disaster movies. And, but even halfway through this one, she was not at all sure she wanted to go through the end, mostly because of the weirdness of throwing the serial killer getting revenge type plot aspect into a sci-fi movie. It kind of feels like they needed to have extra length to be able to pad the two 2-hour sessions with commercials. So as a result, they just threw this extra plot element in there that really had nothing to do with supernovas. Well, the movie, like we all said, didn't have anything to do with supernovas because the sun wasn't going to turn into a supernova because some form of meteor from some other star explosion crashed into the sun and screwed up the sun's electromagnetic field. That's what caused all this stuff to happen. But all this other weird stuff, and in the process you have people with evil intent trying to engineer the society of the future by planning for years and years and years to house thousands of people underground to be able to preserve the human race. Plus the bad science. This is more Sci-Fi Channel fare than Hallmark fare. I guess probably the show after that was the Pioneer Woman, who was having to fend herself off from the grizzly. That's it for now. Back to net. This is N5HYP.
Tom, you get the commendation of honor and everybody else who watched this fine film, because I didn't get that far. KC5OZT, Miss Carolyn, you did not see the film, but that's okay. We're glad to have you here. what do you think about films with stuff being dumped on Earth? I'll leave it at that. Miss Carolyn, KC50ZT from KE5ICX.
Crossed my mind there. Right now they have a program for watching for asteroids that are coming between the Earth and the Moon, and get coming that close, and it's called NEA. You can go to spaceweather.com and see the list, and just earlier this week, or sometime during the past week, there was a small asteroid hit in Soviet, or in one of the Russian countries, and it seems odd they get hit twice. That shows it can happen anywhere, I guess, but so there's a little bit of truth in there, but it's worth studying up on the near-Earth asteroids and the ones that have hit Earth. That's all I can think of right now, KC50ZT.
Thank you, Miss Carolyn. I agree. You never know what's going to hit, where, when, how, any of that. All right. Here's our great thinker, Mike, KG5P. He saw, well, I have written down, he got through one half of this film. You missed the great meltdown. But Mike, your comments on, I don't know, this twat, and then what do you think about stuff being dumped on us? KG5P from KE5ICX.
Great thinker. Come on, Tom. You know me better than that. I don't think about anything. Well, getting back to what some of the comments earlier, Bill mentioned the helicopter. In addition to what Bill said, they had this electromagnetic pulse. Okay, I'll buy that. That's not unreasonable. It was enough to take down the helicopter, but you notice when they were trying to auto-rotate in, the instruments were still on. The night vision was on, the instrument dials were lit up and everything. Well, how come it didn't take out the whole helicopter, all the electrical systems? It just took out the part that ran the motor. The whole bit with the murder, I don't know, that was just totally extraneous. I think they just threw that in there to stretch it out to 2 hours and 45 minutes. They could have left it out of there, but then it wouldn't have gone 2 hours and 45 minutes. Phoenix was kind of interesting. I think we've seen that before, didn't we call it? Wasn't it in Dr. Strangelove? We're going to save humanity by putting them down the mine shafts. That sounds familiar, like we've seen that before somewhere. Shooting all these plasma fireballs. They come millions of miles. 3 of them land in St. Louis. And just one of them just happens to knock out the St. Louis Arch. God, whoever's shooting them. Oh, and one thing that just made no sense to me, here's this fireball, they see it, they pick it up on their satellite telescope thing or something, and for the Earth, and one says the fireball will hit us in a few minutes, and then the other one says, well, we should send out a warning. Yeah, like what are you going to do in a few minutes? You know, pray, I guess. We have to see how this ends, though. KG5P.
Okay, very good, Mike, and thank you. Yeah, great. This is KE5ICX. We're talking about the fine film Supernova, the Hallmark film from 2005. Yeah, everybody remembers this film. Well, everybody remembers this film. So next up is, let's see, KG5ZNJ. He did not see the film. You got any comments about, I don't know, the Hallmark films, stuff being dumped on Earth? You name it. Go ahead. If you're still there, you don't have to answer, but you can if you want. Tell us. KG5ZNJ, you're up.
This is KG5ZNJ. Well, I missed out on this discordant clinker of a film. So good for me, I guess. I will take the opportunity to talk about something that did drop on Earth yesterday, which is a film that's on Amazon called Texas Zombie Wars El Paso, which is exciting for me personally because I was in the second film in that series, which is coming out sometime after this one passes, which is Texas Zombie Wars Dallas. And that was 4 years ago that we were involved in filming that one, so I'm real excited about that. I'm hoping it comes out. It'll be probably the only movie I ever had anything to do with. Anyways, what can you say? Luke Perry. I don't want to say anything too bad about him. He just died. Other than I'll say that he mastered the sad face and the James Dean thing all together and made a career out of it. Then you have Peter Fonda, Easy Rider, which, you know, masqueraded as a biker movie, but really it was about two hippies on motorcycles. You know, what can you say? If they would have maybe put some better actors in there, like a real man's man like John Saxon or maybe John Cassavetes, maybe they could have had a film there. Anyways, that's all I have to say. KG5ZNJ.
Superb. Thank you. Thank you, Jim. I think that's fantastic. I agree with you. Yes, it needed John Saxon in it. Like, well, John Saxon in any movie is like putting a hole in your head and going, that felt good. And it did, actually. Okay, let's see. Next on the list is Robert. AA5AH. He's mobile. He may be gone. Robert, you got any comments about stuff being dumped on Earth from space? Or, well, that's a good start. Jim, go ahead. This is KE5ICX.
This is AA5AH. No, as long as I'm on the other side of the planet, I'm probably safe. I'm just kidding. Yeah, those movies are always interesting. I guess it keeps motivation up. And maybe a good budget for looking for near asteroids, Earth asteroids. But no, I did not see the movie, but I'm just listening and listening to everybody's comment. AA5AH.
Hey, Robert, thank you for checking in. It's most appreciated. When people are at least listening in, that's fantastic, and thank you for checking in. You don't have to be put on the hot seat, but if you want to be put on the hot seat, we'll put you on the hot seat. But thanks very much. And we may get you on another round. We'll see on this. W5EBV, David. Thoughtful David, you saw this fine film, and I know you have some explosive extraordinarily good information to tell us. Go ahead. From KE5ICX.
All right, thanks, Tom. Well, first of all, I better admit that I only watched about the first hour, and then I got into the movie YouTube skip mode. But I got the gist of it and saw most of the salient scenes. Now, first of all, I think Supernova, is a bit of a misnomer. It didn't really supernova. I think a better name for this movie would have been Sunballs. And it was pretty much two movies in one. And some of the comments I've jotted down to talk about have already been said by others, but they were such good comments, I think they bear repeating. Two movies in one, too long. Plot one, the cataclysmic solar event. Plot two, the violent misogynist terrorist. Do these two plots really belong in the same movie? Are they related in some obtuse or metaphorical way? I don't think so. Now, as for the main storyline, I thought it was pretty good story-wise. The script's technical, science dialogue really should have been reviewed by someone with a technical or science background. But, it's not at all implausible that the sun at some point might throw a temper tantrum. And, it could, just cause minor disruption to communications on Earth, or, it might be entirely apocalyptic. Now, in this case, it wasn't totally apocalyptic, like Easy Rider thought. Not a complete Terran reset. More like a global dermatological surface scrub, or maybe a thorough and much-needed adjustment by a cosmic chiropractor. Call it a soft reset, I guess. Now, let me reset. If they had gone on for another hour, they could have extended this movie's plot line into a third plot, which would be about the social apocalypse that would happen, about a week after having no internet globally. And that would be a real reason for people to dig themselves underground and live there for a while until the social unrest settles down when YouTube and Facebook and all the other stuff doesn't work. W5EBB.
Thanks, David. I always am expectant and appreciative of all your comments having to do with fine films, including the fact that you actually watched through this whole thing and had an analysis. And yet, well, you know what? When you're trying to fill time, you're going to put in disjunctive things to make it sound, I don't know, fill up time. I think that's a true term. Okay. Thank you. Next up, KG5BZWJ. Dear Weatherford, over on Echolink. Your thoughts on this fine film from KE5I6.
This is KG5BZW. A lot of the points that I wanted to say haven't already been said. Not sure I'll do David, I think his name. Oh, goodness. Yeah, David 5EDB's repeating up some points the third time or anything, but I guess I only got a couple of comments here. I thought I had three, but I ended up writing them down because I was afraid to comment on my comments. I need more brain than I could figure out what to do with. Anyway, whatever. Blah. Okay, so yeah, I just kind of wanted to comment on something. I actually kind of see where they were going. I mean, this film was just all over the place. I mean, everybody said that. I just want to be clear about that, I guess. But when you got a cataclysm movie and, everybody's going to die, there's a certain little aspect I thought they would explore, which they didn't really. Well, okay, normal morality might say has kind of changed. And well, okay, so what would you do if everybody's going to die anyway, and you got the serial killer coming towards you, and add a few other predicates along the way, and I don't know, that might be kind of interesting. So yeah, I can kind of see where they might be going with that. They didn't really do anything with this movie. It was I thank goodness for the double speed and the various other speeds, and I wish I could have kept it on a double speed through the entire movie. That would have made it 1 hour, normal movie length. But at double speed, it kind of I don't know, you miss a few words and it's like, well, what just happened? If you're especially on a mobile device, you gotta find out the thing and make it stop and whatever, go back a few seconds and start again. But I forgot even where I was going with that. Let me reset. Oh, there's a lot of delay here. Okay. So the second point I wanted to say, Bill. Oh goodness, there's so many problems with this movie, scientifically and otherwise. I really almost did give it up on this film when they said, "Oh, we'll just move the satellites to the back end of the Earth," and it's like, "Oh, that's not really how those satellites work." But we do have these artifacts of orbit and motion called Lagrangian points, and it's not like you're going to be moving a geosynchronous orbit satellite to a Lagrangian point satellite, but there is that one Lagrangian point that just happens to be behind the Earth, in line with the Earth and Sun. It's like some distance away. I didn't get all the details of it, and it seems even like there's a spacecraft called WIND Wind that even used it actually according to one document, it wasn't really documented, Wikipedia, I didn't see the source for it. They even had it stored at the L2 point, which is behind the Earth, respect to the Sun, while they need to do something, and then they transferred it to the L1 point, which is the Lagrangian point in front of the Earth, which is, again, it's kind of, Lagrangian points are an interesting thing, and I'm really not doing them justice here. And it's not really possible to do justice to. So, if there was some strange way you could get your geosynchronous to that, okay, that's it's like I can crack down a tiny how do you make a hole in a hole? Build a tiny delicate structure that might work, I guess, in the plot hole. But whatever. There's just too many other things. It wasn't really even clear to me. Like, okay, so Washington D.C., you got everything working there, and like the rest of the world is disaster, and obviously things hit the different sides of the Earth at different times and everything, but still there were some awfully convenient cities running and whatnot. I guess that shouldn't be considered necessarily bad, but it just seemed there was so much I would consider for convenience filmed. Oh my goodness. Anyway, that's all I got. KG5BZW. Back to next.
Okay, thank you, Jay, and my condolences to the fact that you did see this film in its entirety. This is KE5ICX. We're talking about the fine film Supernova from 2005, I think. 7. Does it matter? Really, we all die in 2005 or 2007. So, when the future comes, we'll know, and it'll all be over. So, moving on. KG5PMN, James, you did not see the film. You may be here, you may not be here. It's okay. Your thoughts about stuff dropping from the skies. I know you didn't see this fine film. You're a wise man. Tell us what you think about stuff dropping from non-Earth. Go ahead, from KE5ICX.
This is Kilo Golf 5, Papa Mike, November, James over in Fort Worth. I'm just mainly listening to the show tonight. I forgot about watching the movie tonight, or last night. Since I didn't get around to it, I don't know, can't really comment too much on it. Things dropping from the sky, unfortunately, I really don't keep track of that either, so don't have much to comment on it, other than I, think that most of the movie stuff needs to be researched better and try to get more scientific information on what's going on dropping from the sky. KG5PMN, back to the net.
James, that's okay. No foul on any of that. It's just, it's just yet another movie and kind of weird in the end. So, this is KE5ICX. Let me give you my comments, and then I'll go ahead and take additional check-ins. I have to be honest with you, this movie moved so slowly that I fell asleep, and I did not wake up until it was time to go to bed, which was, 9:30. 9:30 in the morning. In any case, I found that the film was disengagingly engaging, which means that in the end, they did the typical Hallmark thing. You're trying to create this whole thing that people are going to enjoy, but at the same time, you realize nobody's going to really enjoy it. The other part of it is that, to my horror, I discovered that this film was 3 hours long, 2 hours and 40-something minutes. I didn't know that until after I realized I got to go to bed because I got to get up in the morning. I got to live tomorrow, which was yesterday, which is today. If it were time travel, it would have been tomorrow. In any case, I just, it just sort of stalled out. I missed more than anything else is I missed the destruction of everything, including Hallmark Studios. I didn't get to see that. That was the thing that I was really interested in, and I fell asleep. I can't imagine why. The story was so engaging and expertly laid out in a very quick way. At some point, this whole story would work out, or not. So I don't know, because I didn't see the other half of the film. For the first time ever, I actually put down notes that said, for the 2-hour and 45-minute movie, did you see all of it? I have a new note. Did you see all of the film or not? And I have all of you who did see this movie fully written down. And I'm going to call the cops and find out if there's, dead bodies somewhere, because if you watch this film, you kept watching the film, and you kept going with this film, somehow or another I worry about you. Reset. All right, I will take additional check-ins at this point, because why not? Anybody who had seen the fine film Supernova from 2005, I think, if you'd like to join us this evening, even if you did not see the film and you have comments about stuff dropping from the skies, please come now with your call sign, your name, and where you're transmitting from. This is KE5ICX, and it is the Aftercore Movie Net.
Kilo India 5, Charlie Juliet Lima, Irving, Texas. My name is Jonathan.
Kilo Echo 5, Zulu Charlie Whiskey. My name is David, and I'm in Rowlett, and I have not seen the movie.
All right, let me get those two people checked in. I got KI5, Charlie, Juliet, India, Jonathan, or Irving. I don't think he saw the film. I think he told me that, but I didn't write it down. But I got you, Jonathan. KE5, Zulu, Charlie, Whiskey, David, over in Rowlett. No, he did not see the film. All right, guys, I'm going to put you on the spot. Thanks for checking in this evening. If either of you have comments about, stuff falling from the sky, I'll start with KI5CJI. Jonathan, welcome to the net. Any comments about, sci-fi films involving stuff falling from the sky? Anything you say is A-OK. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. It's Kilo India 5, Charlie Juliet Lima, L. As far as things falling from the sky, if I can't catch them, I just try to get out of the way. I'm sorry I haven't seen the film, but I'm a long-time listener, first-time check-in.
Okay, Jonathan, I'm sorry, KF5CJL. I know it sounds like talk radio or something. That's not what it was intended to be, but it's okay. Thank you for checking in. I appreciate it very, very much. Who knows what the hell's going on? We have better movies, better times, and we talk about them. But, all right. Thank you very much. KE5Z, CW. David, over in Rowlett, you didn't see the movie. What do you think about, I don't know, anything having to do with stuff falling from the sky? David in Rowlett, go ahead. KE5ZCW.
Well, things falling from the sky. If you think back in the dinosaur days, something fell from the sky and killed all of them. And that was pretty radical, pretty immense. And then other things fall out of the sky, like the movie It, or not It, but The Thing, and it got trapped in the ice and they brought it back. And it killed everybody. So we got to be careful with what falls out of the sky. If we don't know what it is, it could kill us.
thank you, David. All right, yes, it could kill us all. All right, this is KE5. Yes, I'm net control. I don't know why, but I'm net control for tonight's Afterglow Movie Net. We're talking about the 2005 movie called Supernova. Supernova! All right, I know. This is one of those where who knows who's still awake. So I'm going to go with N5DV Bill. Now, you're on notice. I'm going to give you some time to think about characterization on this fine film. This one may be thin, so I'll go ahead and ask you if you have additional comments, because I have a feeling everybody's going to go to bed on this one. But, Bill, your comments on characterization, anything you want to say about this fine film?
Anything I want to say about it? That's rather broad. This is N5DB. The characterization. Dr. Austin Shepard, Peter Fonda, was in there just because everybody knew who he was. He didn't do very much in the movie. You didn't see him doing that much, and he wasn't that central to it. And kind of a subplot. Didn't learn much about his motivations. You saw what he did, but it wasn't exactly clear. We didn't know much about his life before that point. We just saw him running off and finding some girl to keep him distracted there before the fireball from the sun came down and conveniently exploded their hut, taking him out of the plot so they didn't have to worry about what happened later on for him. They just could write it out right there. Let's see. The Luke Perry character, I don't know. Dr. Chris Richardson. I didn't connect very well with that character. And seems to me like he just kind of walked through the movie. Didn't seem to have too much passion as far as I was concerned. He did what was required of him, but nothing more as a character or as an actor. Tia Carrera as Agent Lisa Delgado from the NIO. They had to change all the three-letter acronyms. You had the NIO, the SPL, and don't forget about SNN, not CNN, but SNN World News. They had to go and just very slightly change all these three-letter acronyms. Her characterization, well, I find it very, very unlikely that she would have jumped between the buildings like that. That was very unlikely. She wouldn't have done that. Nobody would have. Of course, the guy that did, the other guy would never have either. But it's fiction. I didn't exactly understand the part where she and Dr. Richardson went off into the desert, kind of went off and escaped and everything. Some of that, I missed something. Maybe I wasn't listening carefully enough. The movie was too long, but that part just slipped right by me. They probably explained it, but I wasn't paying close enough attention, I guess.
let's see, the rest of the characters, Dr. Richardson's wife and daughter, that was just thrown in. Had nothing to do with the rest of the plot. The bad guy, the really, really, really bad serial killer, he was way too bad. He was just too bad. He was bad to other prisoners. He was bad to everybody. And he looked like he had a really bad dentistry, and he just looked pretty rough. I don't know. That was just too typecast. You know, there's no depth to that character. No reason for it, and no reason for the actions he took, and no reasons why she shot him right at the last moment. I mean, it wouldn't have happened that way in real world. Not when he was just about ready to throw her husband off the balcony or whatever, choke him or whatever they were doing. Anyway, everything else was predictable. The military people were very cruel and rough, and they couldn't change their attitudes, and no, you can't see your families. That was just what you would expect. Everybody kind of did what was expected of them. It was pretty typecast. I guess that's my characterization of the whole thing. Info-DB.
Very good. Thank you, Bill. And I realized that I missed somebody. WB5OZL, Miss Brenda, your comments on any and everything having to do with tonight's movie. You saw it all. Go ahead. From KE5ICX.
This is WB5OZL. Yes, I saw that whole movie. The plot, I just, just didn't hold water at all. I don't know what they could have done to fix it when the premise is broken or stupid. And then in the end, how do we save the world? Well, was it really real? It was all just a dream. It's kind of anticlimactic, in my opinion. You were almost glad when Easy Rider got bombed. And they keep talking about things falling out of the sky. Actually, they were being hurled from the sun. I'm not sure why some of the stuff didn't burn up in the atmosphere on its way down. It wasn't really clear to me. The characters, some were okay, some were not. Nobody's mentioned Lance Henriksen. I really like him. He was Bishop in Alien, and fine actor. But boy, he played a jerk, which he was. It's getting pretty late, so I'm not going to belabor everything. We've had some great comments, and I really appreciate everybody's insight. So I'm going to turn this back to Net. This is WB5OZL.
Thank you, Miss Brenda. This is KE5ICX. I'm going to go ahead and open up the conversation. Actually, I was surprised we had way more comments than I was expecting on this film, and we're running late. But that's okay. Anybody have any final comments on this film? We'll do them now. Please come with your call sign.
KG5ZNJ. 5EBB.
I got KG5ZNJ. Frank, go ahead with your comments, and then David, I got you as well, W5EBB. So KG5ZNJ, go ahead.
Oh, KG5ZNJ. I was just looking at the IMDb on this thing, and apparently 68 people in the cast had speaking parts. 68. And not one of them made this thing interesting. You know, and it just made me think, you know, what a shame Charles Bronson died, because he could make any movie great. You know, in this one, he would have just said something like, "Hey, what's this Supernova business? How about I just go fix it?" You know, and by that means shoot it right in the head. I don't know, maybe Steven Seagal break a few hairs, throw people around. That's always great. But if I would have seen this on the Hallmark Channel, man, I would have fast-forwarded right to the Golden Girls and went to bed. KG5ZNJ.
All right. Thank you, Frank. I hope you are, well, I have an announcement later on having to do with Field Day. I hope you will show up for Field Day, because the big announcement, you have to be there. We have theater seats for this thing, and you should be there. Okay, never mind. Thank you. Let me try one more time. I fell in the pool. W5EBB. David, your comments, your final comments on this fine film. Go ahead. From KE5ICX.
Well, I'll combine the character I most like as well as the best visual effect, and that was Dr. Shepard's beachside bartender. And the first quote that I actually laughed at was when Dr. Shepard complimented her by saying, "You make a really good drink," and she said, "Well, you make a really good drunk." And of course, that was Dr. Shepard's just throw in the towel and just go hedonistic and just get rid of all the money while you can, because you never know when that sunball's gonna strike you down. But the takeaway, the moral, the metaphysical, philosophical point that I thought was actually quite good was when the bartender said, quote, "It doesn't matter what's coming next. It only matters what you're doing now." I like that. W5EBB.
Thank you, David. And you know what? I'll agree with you on that, is that you only have, here's the metaphorical part for me, is that you only have control over the immediate, the now, and that's how you influence things. I think that's one of the reasons why we love time travel, is that we can undo what we do or redo what we want to do. And in that sense, you're in the moment, and that's one of the things that really, really works. So, I don't know. This film itself didn't have a lot going for it for me, although it looked pretty visually good and things were working for it. But in the end, you go, this thing goes on and on and on. But that's what happens, and you fill things in. The interesting part, I think, is that on this film, or any film going forward, is that you can fill it with good stuff, not Hallmark stuff, but good stuff. You can create stories and create interaction that really, really works. And you can do it in such a way that's complex. Let me reset. We're seeing more and more complex television, movies, and that where it's layered. And you can create storyline that fills in those long blanks. But they do it in a more feathered and more appropriate way. Now, can you go off on the deep end, create stories that are way too, I don't know, character-driven to a point where it's uninteresting? Yeah, you can do that. However, if you can take the stories and you can fold them in a way that really makes sense and has pertinence to the audience, that's fine. I think that works. I think things that happens with live television is that you have to extend stuff out, you have to reduce it in order to make it fit in the world of reaching the top of the hour. I think that one of the things that happens with movies is that they have to extend things out, they've got to reduce the size in order to fit a particular format. The format is the most important part. This movie was obviously one of those things that goes on forever and ever, and probably was 2 or 3 nights, maybe 4 nights consecutively, and you extend it out, which lessens the movie in such a way that you go, I don't care anymore, because it's so padded. So I don't know. Here's another comment. I'll tell you this. One of the things that's very interesting to me is the new Twilight Zone, the latest one that's come out on CBS All Access, is it's a 1-hour story. It gives you time to flesh out the characters and the things that are going on. And it does so in a way that's really thoughtful. I think the most important part of it is that with Rod Serling, he wanted a 1-hour show. And where am I going with this? Well, I'll tell you right now. With a 1-hour show, you can take and flesh out your characters. You can flesh out the ideas and the thought process that goes along with it. 1 hour is comfortably capable of doing that. When the Twilight Zone originally came out, it was 30 minutes, which means 22 minutes of story. You got to bam that thing through. Was he successful? Absolutely was successful. But in the end, I think, and watching 3 episodes of Twilight Zone, the new one, is that you can do so much more in a 60-minute format. So my question is, and maybe it's not a question, but a comment, having to do with, say, this thing that we watched, is how long do you need to tell the story? To me, the answer to that is quite simple. 1 hour works. I know that's completely blah, but 1 hour can tell a story. Half an hour, you have to emphatically tell a story. Can you do it in a 15-minute format? Yeah, I think you can. But in the process, it's more in your face the shorter the time is. And that's okay. Maybe stamping that story in your face is very good. But I really believe that the longer story time is better, but the overly long 3-hour thing doesn't work. That's just my comment. So I'll ask any additional comments or check-ins. This is KE5ICS. Net control for tonight's Afterglow Movie Net. Anybody else want to check in with Without comments, come now.
KG5P, comment on the Twilight Zone.
I'll be right back. I think I know, but I gotta check. Stand by.
I think with you I doubled with you, Tom. I was going to comment on the Twilight Zone, KG5P.
Mike, go. I have to figure out what our next movie is. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I've seen a couple of the new Twilight Zones. They're quite good, quite well done. I haven't seen the third one. I guess it's out there. I'll have to go check. But, you know, it's right in the spirit of the original 1 hour Rod Serling. It follows it along pretty closely. KG5P.
Thanks, Mike. And our next movie will be Anon. That's a movie from this year, or last year, 2018. It is available. Let's see, where is this thing available? Well, I'll send you the link. I got one new person who's interested in finding it. To be part of the group, so I'll add you. It's here somewhere. In any case, looks like it could be interesting. The movie is Anon, A-N-O-N, from 2018, and we'll do that thing next Saturday. So we'll see how that all works out. Everybody's out at the Star Party, but in case, I hope you enjoy it. All right, I'm going to shut down. Thanks to everybody who checked in. This is KE5ICX. I'm going to say good night. See you next Saturday. KE5ICX clear.
Wednesday at 7 p.m. W5FC.